Hello, Michael Snyder here, and what you're seeing on the screen is Russian warheads raining down on Ukraine's fourth largest city. They shocked the world this week because this was the first time that this type of reentry vehicle was used in military conflict in history. So this was really a landmark event, a historic event, and I'm going to be writing more about this today, so look for it on the Substack, michaeltsnyder.substack.com. But it's been confirmed that this new Russian missile, which the hypersonic missile, there's no defense for it, and it can carry nuclear warheads. So the Russians essentially just simulated what a nuclear attack on Ukraine's fourth largest city would look like. Thankfully, they just used conventional weapons in this case, but the message, the implication is that next time we could use nukes, we could use nuclear warheads, and look how fast they come in, and there's nothing you can do to stop it. You have no defense. And so the Russians are saying, stop launching long-range missiles into our territory. We're holding you responsible, Ukraine. Of course, they have also said they're holding the United States and the UK responsible. But this whole thing has caused so much interest on the internet about nuclear war, about World War III, about all these things. So today I'm going to let this play in the background, this footage, this stunning footage from Ukraine that we witnessed this week. And I'm going to talk a little bit about how to survive a nuclear war, because people are interested in that. They're saying, well, hey, are we headed toward a nuclear war? What can I do? How can I survive? How can I live through it? And so there's a number of things that you want to consider in terms of trying to survive if we do go to a full-blown nuclear war between the United States and Russia. And if other countries start using nuclear weapons, what can I do to survive? Obviously, one of the first things is, if you're in the United States or Russia or one of the countries involved in a nuclear conflict, it's probably not a great place to be. Ideally, you'd want to be not in one of those countries, but for most people, that they live and work in the United States. That's where their families are, and that's where they have to be right now. So if you are located in the United States, number one thing you want to think about, because you can survive. And, a lot of people are kind of under the myth that, oh, if there's a full-blown nuclear war, everyone's going to immediately die, so why even worry about it? No, that's actually not true. Studies have shown that only about 20% of the US population will be wiped out initially. And that 20% will be located near military bases, near air bases, near nuclear silos, near any military installation that has anything to do with our nuclear program. It's going to be a target. So if you live near or around a military base, an air base, nuclear silos, anything of that nature, yeah, you're probably going to die right away when the Russian nukes come in, and there's nothing you're going to be able to do about it. Also, strategic targets, leadership, that means Washington, D.C., where obviously the president and the Congress and our federal agencies are headquartered. Washington, D.C. is going to be a huge target in New York City with Wall Street and the financial center. And any large population center, especially if it is a strategic target of any sort or nature, that's going to be a target. So you want to avoid the large population centers, especially if they have strategic importance. So you want to avoid those. So those are going to be your major targets, and those are going to be the 20% of the population that just wiped out right away. Now, when the nukes hit, very, very important, don't look at the nuclear explosions. You'll be so tempted to look at the nuclear explosions as they happen. Don't look at the nukes, because the nuclear explosion can blind you. If you're close enough, it can be permanent. If you're farther away, it can be temporary. But you don't want to be blinded by the nukes. So don't look at the nuclear explosion. It's going to be really, really tempting because there'll be a big explosion, a fireball, whatever. You want to look. Don't look. Okay? Secondly, If you're outside of the blast radius in terms of being just immediately incinerated, well, that doesn't mean that you're out of the woods, because the nuclear explosions are just going to cause tremendous fires. And there's at that point, there's not going to be really anyone to put them out either. So once the fires start, they're going to spread. They're going to rage out of control in most cases. Yeah, I mean, some people from outside may come in and try to fight the fires a little bit, but these fires are going to be massive, widespread, out of control. Far beyond any wildfires that we've ever, that we've seen. Just fires raging everywhere, spreading everywhere, burning everything that they can. A lot of people are literally going to be killed, not by the blast, but then by the fires. So if you are outside of the blast radius, maybe you live in a suburb, maybe you live in an area that's, it wasn't immediately destroyed, but the fires start, you may have to evacuate due to the fires. But you don't actually want to be outside once a nuclear war happens, because of the fallout. So evacuating, I mean, you could end up getting killed by the fallout as you're evacuating, but it's better than being burned alive by the fires. So if you're in danger from fire, you may have to go. You may have to grab what you can and go to escape the fires, which will just rage out of control. And in some cases, they'll just rage out of control for weeks or months or whatever, and just keep spreading and burning, and it'll be really bad. Um, but then beyond that, what's going to kill a lot of people, just millions and millions of people, is the fallout. As the fallout, starts to fall back to Earth, and then people need to understand the fallout is spread by winds, by rainstorms, and it's going to travel from west to east. So if there's for example, a nuclear explosion, if Los Angeles is wiped out by nukes, then the fallout will start traveling east from Los Angeles, as that's where the winds and the storms take it. And so you want to be aware of that. So you could live in an area that wasn't nuked, but you could be hundreds of miles away, but the fallout can be carried by the wind, by rainstorms, to your area. In fact, in some cases, the fallout will likely travel. It could travel hundreds of miles, 1,000 miles, and so even if you're not in an area that was nuked, you could be affected by the fallout. So how do you protect yourself from fallout? Well, get inside and stay inside, because you don't want the fallout to get on you. You don't want to breathe it in. You don't want to ingest it. And a lot of people will die from the nuclear fallout. Now, the good news, a lot of people think, oh, the nukes come and it's going to be uninhabitable for a long time. No, actually, no. As long as you're outside of the immediate blast area, and you're just in an area that's been affected by the fallout, well, the fallout is the worst for the first 48 hours. After 48 hours, the danger from fallout just falls exponentially. And so after 48 hours, you're pretty much going to be okay, although the government recommends you stay inside for at least 2 weeks. And that would be my recommendation, to stay inside for 2 weeks. And then after 2 weeks, the danger is just really, really minimal. Um, but especially the first 48 hours. Now, once you're inside, I mean, most people don't have a basement that's surrounded by concrete or lead. Those are more ideal. But you just do what you can, with what you have. What you want to do is you want to get low. So if you have two levels of your home, you want to get down, because you want to get as far away from your roof as you can. So if you have a basement, if you have a sub basement, get as far down as you can, and then get away from the exterior walls of your home. Because what most people don't realize, nuclear fallout can actually affect you through the walls of your home. If your home is sealed off, well, the fallout's not going to get inside, but you can be radiated by fallout through the walls of your home, and through your roof. And not well, fallout could be falling on your roof, and it could literally be radiating you through your roof. So you want to get as low as you can. You want to get as far away from the exterior walls as you can. That's going to be the best chance of survival. Depending on the level of nuclear fallout that your particular area experiences. Now, another thing I want to warn people about is because, okay, they're staying inside their home, they think they're safe, they think they're protected. But one thing you don't want to do, don't drink the tap water, okay? Because in a lot of areas, the fallout is going to get in the tap water, and then and people will be like, oh, I'm so thirsty, I got to get a drink of water. They're going to drink some water, or they're going to, take a shower or whatever, and then they're going to be exposed to the fallout and they'll die. So don't drink the tap water, don't take a shower with the tap water, avoid the tap water. This is why, in advance, you need to have some bottled water, have some jugs of water, have plenty of liquids to drink, have plenty of and water to use for bathing, basic bathing, things of that nature, because you don't want to bring the tap water into your house, uh, and so that's something a lot of people don't think about. But after about 2 weeks, yeah, you can, and as long as you're far enough away from where the initial blasts were, you'll be able to go out of your home, and you'll be able to start to try to pick up the pieces. But at that point, okay, there's going to be no, public services will be totally broken down, supply chains will be totally broken down, there'll be no food in the stores, there'll be dead people all over the place. There'll be no power grid. There'll be no communications. There'll be no electricity. There'll be no ATMs to get money. No banks. No hospital. I mean, hospitals may be trying to function, but without electricity, that's going to be extremely difficult. So you're going to be living in a world that's gone mad, and and ultimately studies have shown that most people that die from a nuclear war are going to die of starvation. Where nuclear winter, and it's debatable how bad nuclear winter will be, but everyone agrees we're probably going to see some type of cooling effect. It could be for years, it could be quite dramatic, or it might not be. There's debate about that, but it may become very, very difficult to grow anything. If you're a gardener, if you want to grow your own food, it may become very, very difficult to do that. Now, you'll want to do that, obviously. Try to grow what you can in terms of long-term thinking beyond a nuclear war, because there's not going to be any food in the stores. There's not going to be anybody bringing you any supplies. You're gonna have what you have, and that's going to be it. And so you want to have some seeds, and you want to try to grow what you can. But in a nuclear winter type of scenario, it may be impossible, at least for a time. So you want to understand that. That's why ultimately you want to, if you want to survive, you want to have enough food and supplies for yourself and for everyone that will be depending upon you for as long as you plan to stay alive in the aftermath of a nuclear war. And I know that sounds very direct and very blunt, but I'm not here to make you feel good. I'm here to tell you the truth. So in a nuclear war scenario, long-term survival, and you're going to be, obviously, the survivors are going to be desperate. Most people are not going to have sufficient supplies of food, so they're going to be seeking out food. They're going to be seeking out supplies. They're going to be and they're going to be desperate. And there will be violent people. There will be people, there will be people that will, be trying to rally communities and bring people together. But in other cases, there will be gangs. There will be violence. There will be people that'll do whatever it takes to take what you have. And so you need to be aware of that. Most of us can't even imagine living in an apocalyptic situation like that. But literally, a nuclear war would uh, completely destroy our society and throw us into an apocalyptic world overnight, and it wouldn't be pretty. So ultimately the long-term survival is the hardest. Most people are going to die from famine, from starving to death. This is one of the reasons why I'm always urging people, get food, get supply, and everything else that you need as well. But you don't want to starve to death. You don't want to watch your family starve to death. So if there's nuclear war, you want to have food on hand, if you want to survive, if you want your children, if you want your family to survive. So that's one of the reasons why I so strongly recommend people that store up on food, and you got to have a lot of it. Because we're not talking about, oh, in 2 weeks and then everything will be better, or a couple of months and things will turn around. No, no, there won't be any more food in the stores permanently, in the event of a nuclear war. So hopefully you find some of these tips helpful. The good news is I do not believe that, despite what you're seeing on the screen right now, despite what you're seeing in Ukraine, I don't believe that that a full-blown nuclear war is in the cards immediately, because I think the Russians are just hoping to get through these next couple of months, to get to January 20th, to be able to talk to Trump and try to work something out, because they see Trump as the last best hope for peace. And they're saying, if we can just get through the rest of the Biden administration, get to Trump. Trump has said that he wants to end the conflict in Ukraine. Let's get to Trump. Let's talk to Trump, try to work something out. Now we'll see if that happens or not, because as I said before, Trump is going to, all our European allies and Canada, and are saying, we want to continue this war. We want to keep fighting. And then most members of Congress, virtually all the Democrats, and then most Republicans too. A lot of people don't realize this, but most Republicans in Congress want to keep fighting. So they're going to be putting pressure on Trump. And we've already seen Trump gave in to the pressure from the Senate, and withdrew the nominee for Attorney General, Matt Gaetz. They're going to be putting pressure on Trump, and then Trump is bringing people into his cabinet, into his administration, which are very anti-Russia, and actually want to keep fighting. So Trump is going to be under an enormous amount of pressure not to give in to the Russians, not to give them everything they want. So we'll see what happens. Well, it's unclear what direction this is going to go in the immediate future, but I know the Russians want to talk to Trump. I know Trump wants to talk to them. Whether they can work something out or not, that'll be up in the air. If the Russians, and by the time Trump even gets into office, who knows how bad this whole thing is going to be, how much they've been, Biden and the global elite will have escalated World War III by the time Trump even gets into office. So what situation will Trump inherit where he can even, work something out with the Russians? We don't know. But if the Russians ultimately talk to Trump and then determine, hey, we're not going to be able to work anything out. We thought, well, Trump would be different from Biden, but this just isn't working out. Well, then all bets are off, and we might be facing a situation where the Russians determine, hey, nuclear war is inevitable. And if the Russians get to that point where they determine that nuclear war with the United States is inevitable, they will strike first. And as we've seen, as you see on the screen, the strikes can be devastating. The Ukrainians have determined that the weapons that ultimately struck the city, they're of Ukraine's fourth largest city. At one point, we're traveling Mach 11. There's no defense for that. And they hit with precision. The Russians just put on a show, which was extremely impressive from a technical point of view, extremely frightening that they would actually go to this level. But our leaders haven't taken the Russian threat seriously. The Russians keep saying, stop, you're crossing our red lines, we're serious. But our leaders are like, no, we don't have to listen to Russians. We don't care what they have to say. So the Russians basically decided, hey, we've got to put on a demonstration which is so over the top that our message is absolutely unmistakable. And so they did this, but then the White House came out, Joe Biden and the White House came out and said, hey, doesn't change anything. We're going to keep doing what we're doing. So let's just hope we can get through the next 2 months to the Trump administration, and hope that Trump can work out something with the Russians. Because if not, you might be needing the tips in this video. Anyway, Thank you for tuning in. I love you guys. Thank you for supporting. Please like and comment on these videos. That helps us out tremendously. And keep praying for us, guys. And thank you for all that everyone out there that's helping us, supporting us. You guys are awesome. I love you, and I'll talk to you again in the next video.